Finally, he's so late. 8:05. There's no way this guy is Swedish. A Swedish person would never be this late. I apologize. I am Swedish. Well, half Swedish. My mother is from Sri Lanka, so when I was an exchange student in the States, my friends used to call me Swedenese, as in Ceylonese. I guess that was funny. Hey Jack, nice to see you. Christian, glad to have you here. I hope everyone is having a lovely evening and that you're ready for some, let's see, Monday. Yeah, it's guided meditation today. Did everyone have a good weekend? The funny thing is when I say stuff like that, I just can't remember really what happened. I have such a hard time feeling that anything that happened like before and after is real. And I'm not saying that just to say that. Really, it's when you start letting go of these distortion and this pressure that happens around you, it's the nice thing is that the pressure to the past or the future kind of goes away a lot. It's still there, but it's just very, very weak. So it just feels like whatever happened this weekend, it doesn't really matter because now we're sitting here and that was really nice to sit down. I just really need to sit, so it's perfect. Andreas, nice to have you. Nadia, nice to have you here as well. I'm not going to say I was laughing, but I was a little bit there. There's a video I made where, what was it called? Are monks just hiding from their problems? I think it was something like that. The one I released last Friday. And one of the comments was saying that monks don't have problems, they deal with situations. Or do you believe the Buddha had problems? And at first when I read it, I thought it was a Chuck Norris joke. I love Chuck Norris jokes. They're just like, I can read them and just laugh so hard that it hurts in my stomach. And I thought it was such an interesting perspective, because if most of you who are here are from the West, so you don't see Buddhism the way they do in Asia. In Asia, Buddhist monks are demigods, kind of. They're not really normal people. They're like above, very different. I think it's in Thailand where they have different pronouns for people, and then Buddha statues have their own kind of, yeah, I think they're said the same name as, same level as like a king or something like that. So their Buddhism or statues or the Buddhism as a religion is seen as something much higher. It's not like I was a Buddhist monk. So, I mean, obviously I'm just a normal person. If anyone has watched me in these streams for a few times, you realize very clearly that I'm just a normal person. I just see things differently and I experience the world a bit differently. Some things vastly differently from some people, and I have a different perspective, but ultimately I am still a normal person. But there's a lot of people in Asia, or people who are really into Buddhism, who don't see it that way. For them, Buddhism is a religion. It's something above and beyond what we consider normal, and I think India is partly to blame for that, because in the Indian tradition, like, you couldn't just be a king. You know, you were a king who spoke to animals and who communicated with other realms, and then when the Buddha came, they did the same thing to him. So whether that's true or not, I mean, obviously I don't know, but I have never met anyone who can levitate. I don't know anyone who can talk to animals. I know people are intuitive with animals, but that's a different thing. And we get caught up in the idea that the purpose of our practice is to gain these special powers so we can become someone special. There's a saying, the one who's truly special is the one who's no one, or the person who's no one is the one who's truly special, or something like that. So people try to become super special by getting rid of the self, which is kind of like you're completely missing the point. It's not about getting special powers or seeing things that other people don't see. It's about getting rid of this sense of self, this distortion, this centered point that's here, that's creating pressure towards everything around you and makes it so difficult to walk around in daily life. Everything that happens, you push against. It's not just the kids are screaming. No, they're screaming at me. They're being difficult at me. It's personal. That hits this thing here. And it's difficult to understand just how liberating and peaceful it is to observe the world without this thing here creating, I think, pressure instead of distortion. Maybe it's better to say pressure, because it literally feels like you have something pushing against this point. And when that drops away, there is just effortlessness. There is freedom. It's not something you do. It's more that you get out of the way, and that's what's left there. And life is very easy. Still have all the things you need to take care of. Still need to pay your bill. Still need to behave in a certain way to fit into society. But the idea that, or the feeling that that is a problem, that disappear. The feeling that you need to do something disappears. You simply do it because it's kind of cause and effect. So it becomes much easier. So when people say things like that, it just makes me smile, because that is so much what I ran into when I was a monk. And that was one of the reasons why I stopped being a monk, because I was never into the Buddhist part. The religious part of Buddhism. I was into the practice part. And I can see exactly what I say. I can see all of that in Buddhism. It's just that it's kind of hidden under lots of other stuff, and like all the dogma and all the beliefs, and how like the world is putrid and then you need to overcome it. And I can kind of understand the reasoning behind it. It feels like a lot of what has become the main teachings of the Buddha were things they said, okay, don't get too attached to this. And then they became, okay, yeah, that is bad. And then they just ran with that and made it completely miss the point with it. So, yeah, I was reading that before, and I was just smiling and thinking of the Chuck Norris notes. Because, Chuck Norris, he doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. That's kind of like the attitude you have to go into this when you view monks from the perspective of someone who's really Buddhist. And remember, I was a monk. I lived with monks. I've seen thousands of monks. Literally, I haven't spoken to thousands of monks. That would be an exaggeration. Or would it? Yeah, it would be. Like hundreds of monks I've actually had intimate conversations with. So I know that they're just normal people. I know they have lots and lots of problems and issues. They just have a little different way of living that makes it easier for them to view it differently. And so, yeah, in a way, as a point, they have situations they need to deal with, but that's the same for everyone. So let's see what people say. Obama from Old Burma, nice to see you here. Nice PF, bro. What's a PF? Is that a PILF? I don't know what that means. Jack, Siddhartha had a lot of things right. No gods, no kings, only you and the bowl of alms. Yeah, I see. That's the thing, right, Jack? I think that's like, there's some really core fundamental truths in Buddhism that are really good, and that's one of them. It's like when I read about Buddhism and the Buddha, like I see that all these things that people are so attached to today, they weren't really important to him. At least that's the parts that I choose to pick. So for instance, in Buddhism today, it's believed that the most important thing is to follow the precepts as a monk. That's like the pure life is following the precepts. But at the time of the Buddha didn't want to have the precepts. He just made them up whenever they came into a situation that they had to find a solution to. So if a monk misbehaved, then they made the rule. But if no one misbehaved, he refused to make the rule. So there was something that, I don't remember the exact example, but someone had come to the Buddha and said, hey, you know what? If someone does this, we should have a rule so they don't do that. But just in case, kind of. And Buddha said, no. If it happens, then we'll deal with it. Because rules are, in a way, a hindrance to getting rid of the self. But they can also be a support. But they will become a crutch. If you start believing that those rules are the thing that are going to get you liberated, then that's going to be a hard time. Old Burma, 1:30 a.m. here. Holy moly! What the heck are you doing up, boy? That's too profile. I was impressed at Jack's profile. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? What are you doing up at 1:30, Obama? It's 8:15 here, and I feel like I'm completely knackered. I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed, because we have, we don't have summertime, we have winter time coming now, so that means that we move the clock 1 hour back, so it's actually the day before, the day before yesterday, this is 9:15, so I'm like, okay, it's time to go to bed. I need to go to bed now. So hopefully it won't be a sleeping meditation, hopefully it will be a normal meditation. The longing for kinship takes man out of monastery, chantry, ordination. The longing for kinship takes man out of... I wouldn't say necessarily, Jack. I think that's one of the things that bring people out of monastery and chantry and ordination. You can also, like, for me, that was not really the main thing. The main thing for me was that I was so tired of all the religion that was part of Buddhism, that people were so caught up in all these ideas of, they just wouldn't practice what we were teaching. They were just so busy chanting about it, talking about it, but actually sitting down on the cushioning and observing all these things coming up and finding a way to deal with it. That was something people didn't do. And people would come to me with all these ideas and thoughts, and I just got so tired of spiritual people. They were just discussing things, and it seems like most people on YouTube who do spirituality, they're not actually trying to get rid of the self. What they're trying to do is trying to get rid of the self so they can get all the stuff they want. They're trying to, law of attraction and manifestation and stuff. They're basically trying to, okay, I'm going to find my inner self and become centered, and then I'm going to create this beautiful life, and then I'll be happy. Which is kind of like, I mean, that's a good thing to do, but then go out and work and like fix stuff instead. That's the same thing, kind of. We're talking about something else. We're trying to learn, how can we enjoy being here? Just the experience of being here, not the whole story, the thing that you think is important, and not by denying the story, because that's a lot what non-duality does. They say like, okay, no, that's just a concept, it doesn't exist, but they still have the distortion, the pressure towards the self. So we're trying to experience reality as it is, without the story, without this pressure towards a center point. Let's see. A meditation technique, it impressed me. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 senses. Yeah, that's a pretty nice one. It's not mine. I can't take credit for that. Although I have my own twist to it, and the way I talk about it is quite different probably than most people who do it. I learned it from the psychologist at work, actually, who did that for... yeah, she did it for children like that were overwhelmed, and they would talk them down with that. I was waiting for your lives and keep missing. Wow, I am impressed. That's yeah. I hope you get some good sleep after this, and I hope you enjoy it. Jack, that's why we find those who did, and we eat on their experience. Thanks. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that was the whole idea behind monasticism. People support the monks so that we can actually do the journey, the practice, and face these difficult things, and then come back and describe it to others and help others do the same thing. But what it's become is that monks have become guardians of knowledge, who just become teachers, kind of. Majority of monks believe that just by following the precepts, they're doing the practice, which is like, that's just like a tiny part. That can help, but it's not going to get rid of yourself. At least I've never met anyone who did that. Obama, haha, you may ask why I didn't sleep. Funny how I've been dreaming wet dreams consequently 2 days. I need the guided meditation and real. Hey man, like, you don't stop dreaming wet dreams just because you meditate. There's nothing wrong with having wet dreams. Jack, have you been in Maine? It was pretty sure. I didn't get that one. Or maybe it wasn't directed at me. Okay, so it's 8:20, and I think Obama is getting tired because it's late, so let's sit. And then afterwards we'll have more questions and answers, or discussions if people feel like it. So for those of you who are new, the way we do this, we usually start with a short discussion like this. It's starting to turn into more like monologues from me. Guys, ask questions. I love talking. Maybe I should talk less and we can discuss more. So we have a short discussion, and then after that we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. As I said before, the whole point of our practice is to feel this pressure towards the center point that is the self, and we're trying to go beyond that, to experience our life rather than experience the story of our life. And the way you do that is that you become one with your senses. You live life through your senses, not through your story and the thoughts and ideas of what your story should be, or even this feeling that is created by your story. Instead, we're trying to just see things as they are. We're trying to just feel what it feels like to feel things. We're trying to just experience whatever is happening right now. Right before I sat down, I had a really intense experience with my family and my kids, who were just, youngest son, completely out of control. But that happened then. It is not happening now. I can still feel the stress in my body, but right now it's enjoyable to sit here, to breathe, to feel the cold air on my skin, to feel fresh air when I'm breathing, to see the lamp, the lights, to talk to wonderful people. I always enjoy chatting with people. So actually experiencing what's happening around you and seeing will take you out of those difficult stories. Not denying the stories, not pushing them down, not explaining them away with positive thinking, which is still keeping the sense of self. You're just creating a pressure point that's less strong. Instead, we're trying to just see things. So the 5-4-3-1 method is made, at least the way we do it, to try to just see things, just see the reflections, the shadow when I move my hand over like this, and to just feel things the way they are. And if you do just one of these, and just a single one, it's better than doing all of them if you truly are able to see the thing. And you will feel that peacefulness, that effortlessness, the not trying to get somewhere to see something, but actually just letting that stillness, ease come up, because it's always there inside of you once this pressure goes away. So we'll do it together. I will do it with you, and you can say it together with me. Try to say it out loud, and if you need to stop and just stay with one thing because you're really seeing it or really feeling it, by all means do that. After that, we'll have 20 minutes guided meditation, and then, like I said, we'll have the questions and answers again after. So I see a shimmering reflection on a lens. I see light being distorted in a pair of glasses. I can see a big red tube. I see a sticker on my sofa. My kids have been busy. And I can see a lathered metal, what would I call that? Spigot, I think it's called. So those are 5 things that I could see. After that, we'll do 4 things that we can feel. And we're not trying to have an emotional relationship with the things we feel, or feel like, oh, this is mine, this is, I want this thing. Like, we're trying to feel how it's enjoyable, to appreciate what you're actually feeling through your senses, and really feel it, not make some long story, anything, just feel what it feels like. So I can feel wool tickling the underside of my arm. We're not trying to get a special feeling to come up. We're just trying to feel and enjoy what it feels like to experience life through our senses. I can feel hot liquid in my mouth. I can feel a pillow behind me. I can feel my hair. I think there was 4. I'm not sure. Let's do one more just in case. I can feel my eyelashes. So those were 4 things that I could feel. After that, we take 3 things that we can hear, and now we need to focus a bit more. Try to not go with the first thing you hear, but actually try to listen for nuances and details in the sound that is coming. If it's something you don't like, then see how there's something disturbing your ability to really hear what you're hearing. So I can hear there's like a fan vibrating. I can hear the wind blowing on my office outside. I can hear tires driving on wet asphalt. Three things that we could hear, and now we take two things that we can smell. I can smell carpet. I smell a sweet smell. Finally, we take one thing that we can taste. I taste toothpaste. For this meditation, we'll be focusing on our breath. And we'll be doing it with the same kind of awareness we were trying to cultivate when we were observing our senses. We're not trying to make the breath do anything in particular. We're not even trying to feel anything in particular. Instead, we're just trying to step to the side and let breath happen by itself. And the way that we do this is by focusing on a wide area of our body. So I want you to bring your awareness inside of you and feel almost like a field as you're breathing in and breathing out. You'll feel that there's a contraction and expansion of your chest and torso. You might feel coldness on your nose. There might be some tension as your breath is moving in and out. But just step to the side and let your breath do whatever it does. There's no need to do deep breaths to make a sound when you're breathing, or even to make shallow and small breaths. Just let the breath do whatever it wants to do. For the next 20 minutes, we will ask ourselves for permission to not have a pressure, to not have tension or distortion towards that thing that happened before, the thing that happened just before you sat down, or the thing that happened earlier today, or the thing that happened yesterday, or the thing that happened last week, or last month, last year, maybe even the thing that happened when you were just a little child, that is now creating a pressure towards this centered self, centered feeling of what feels like you. Or we're not going to indulge ourselves in thoughts and fantasies about what will happen tomorrow, or how much better our lives would be if we could just figure out the solution to this one problem that maybe I can gain clarity from when I meditate. Instead, we're going to do something incredibly simple, yet difficult to do, which is to just observe our breath. And just let breath happen. And as you do this, I want you to constantly lean towards enjoyment, constantly lean towards appreciating what it feels like to breathe, what it feels like to smell, to hear things, to feel things. There'll be lights behind your eyelids. There'll be flavors in your mouth. Just appreciate your sensate reality as you're observing your breath going in and going out. And give yourself permission to drop the pressure that you have to your past and to your future, and instead focus fully on just breathing in and breathing out. To make this a little bit easier, we'll do a technique where we count our breaths from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. And I will do this together with you the first time, and after that you can continue doing it by yourself. You'll hear me breathe, but I'm doing that simply to show when I'm breathing in and out. For yourself, just let breath happen. So breathing in and breathing out. 1. Breathing in, breathing out. 2. Breathing in, breathing out. 3. Breathing in, breathing out. 4. Breathing in, breathing out. 5. Breathing in, breathing out. 6. Breathing in, breathing out. 7. Breathing in, breathing out. 8. Breathing in, breathing out. 7. Breathing in, breathing out. 6. Breathing in, breathing out. 5. Breathing in, breathing out. 4. Breathing in, breathing out. 5. Breathing in and breathing out. 3. Breathing in, breathing out. 2. Breathing in and breathing out. 1. Now continue counting your breaths from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. As you breathe in, breathe out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. as you're observing your breath while you're breathing in and breathing out, I want you to ask yourself a question. I want you to ask and check in. How am I doing right now? And see what's there. Is there anger, irritation, longing, happiness? Is there any kind of pressure to anything outside of whatever we're doing right now, which is observing our breath? If what you're feeling is not enjoyment, appreciation, and a feeling of gratitude, of happiness, of being able to sit here and breathe, then ask yourself, this is the only moment you'll ever have. Whatever happens, happens now. You can never, ever experience anything outside of now. So if you're ever going to be happy, if you're ever going to enjoy being alive, being here, when would that be, if not now? Are you going to wait 20 minutes until you can stretch your legs and have a cup of coffee, until you're going to allow yourself to feel good and enjoy being alive? Or are you going to wait 20 years until you've earned enough money to allow yourself to say, I have enough, now I can relax and enjoy? Maybe it's next week when you have that promotion, or when you're going on that date, when you're getting that new TV, when you're having your surgery, when you get whatever it is you believe you need to have to enjoy not your story, not the idea of what is going to happen to you, but the simple sensate reality of being alive, of breathing, of feeling, sensing, without a self distorting that feeling. Ask yourself, is this what you want to do with your life? Or, if you could or should, simply enjoy just being here, just hearing what's around you, just feeling the temperature on your skin, whatever your experience is giving you right now, even though that might be a difficult experience for some. Look for the joy in your senses and appreciation of that as you breathe in and breathe out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. is common to create tension inside of your body when you're sitting and meditating and observing what's happening inside of you. So as you sit and observe your breath, all the while leaning towards enjoyment and appreciation, be sure to move your shoulders and see if you have any tensions. Maybe wiggle your upper body a little bit to see if you're clenching your jaws, having pressure on your chest, or some other way tightening up. And if you feel that you do, just slowly move around a little bit and see if you can let go of that. And if you can't, then that's okay. At least now you're aware of it. And all the while, observe your breath as you're breathing in and breathing out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. You're welcome to have a cup of tea with me. Keep on sitting. Or if you have any questions or things you'd like to talk about, just feel free to write them in the chat. Nadia, thank you. My cat was meditating with me. Are there any recommended positions to meditate in? Nice. Yeah, it's very nice. I'm allergic to cats, but I remember some centers I were at, they had cats, and they would just come up and sit in your lap. It was very nice. There's this calmness to cats. Cats are amazing at letting go of this pressure towards the past and the future. They just kind of walk, and then they just lay wherever they want to, and then all of a sudden, okay, there's nothing, and then it immediately reacts and just become effortless in moving. So any positions that I recommend, yes, it depends a little bit on what you're comfortable with. I think the easiest one is to sit cross-legged with rolling some kind of fabric behind your bum, so you tilt your pelvis forward. I did make a video called something about sitting positions for meditation. You can find it on my channel, where I discuss why that is good, because it opens up your hip and it creates a straight back when you sit. I don't recommend people to sit in the lotus position. It's way too aggressive for the knees. And during my years sitting thousands of hours, I've never seen anyone who went to an intensive retreat that sat in the lotus position. You just don't do that. That's more for kind of Instagram, or for, like, I don't actually know who would do that. There's no point to it. It gives you good posture, but that's not necessary. Another really good position is one called the diamond, where you sit on a kind of a stool and you fold your legs underneath you, so you sit on top of that one. That gives you very good posture. That's easy to maintain, and it can be good if you have problems with your knees. Otherwise, you can also walk and lie down. Lying down has the problem that most people fall asleep, but walking can be very good if you're tired. So the centers I were at, we'd combine 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, because the walking meditation has more energy to it. So, but I recommend you watch that video that I did on sitting positions. Obama, sadhu, 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 cat. Yes, exactly. Jack, maybe I am just missing something, but there was this monk called Ananda. Yes, he was pretty much the closest to the Buddha. What do the scriptures say about him after Buddha died? Did he achieve it? Yes, so there's a story about Ananda, who was the Buddha's closest helper, or like his closest friend. And he was with the Buddha all the time. So when they had, after the Buddha passed away, they had this big Sangha meeting with all the monks who would come, and they would discuss, okay, what are the teachings of the Buddha? And then they would kind of reiterate that so that they wouldn't forget, and they tell the stories of what he taught. But to attain, you had to be an arahant. You had to be a fully enlightened being. And Ananda wasn't that. I think he just had stream entry, if I remember correctly. It's not really important, but he just had the first level of enlightenment. So then they said, well, you can't join this meeting because you have to be fully enlightened. And he said, but I'll make it until then. So he walked around in his room and he put all this pressure, and then eventually he just gave up, I think the story goes. And then as he gave up, he became fully liberated and arahant. So then he did make it according to that. It's completely crazy to believe that you will actually be able to force yourself into letting go of the self. That's not quite how it works. At least not what we're talking about here. That just creates more pressure. But what can help is that you create so much pressure and it hurts so much. You're like, okay, I can't do this. And then you see this pressure towards you and you go, oh, wait a minute. This is dumb. This is kind of silly. Why am I doing this? And then you let go of it. And then the self disappears and you no longer have that pressure. Granted, just because it disappears doesn't mean it goes away fully. It means you let go of a part of it, and then there's other stuff you need to come and look at. Those things are just big things. There's also a sense of pressure towards the sofa, towards light, towards the color green, towards everything around you. So there's much, much more to it than people believe when they start, that creates this sense of self. Jack Crusher, enlightenment, I mean, yeah, I figured. It's food for thought, though, anyway, isn't it? Yeah, maybe. Striving doesn't really help. You need to strive, though, at the same time. You need to put some kind of effort in. But the idea that you make yourself uncomfortable to get somewhere and you're not comfortable, somewhere where you are comfortable, doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's a bit of a conundrum, I guess we could say. I think the best way to let go of the sense of self is just to learn to enjoy being alive. Because the thing is, when you enjoy and appreciate what you're experiencing through your senses, the self is going to come in and say, no, 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 no. You cannot enjoy now, because can't you see all the things happening around you to you? It should be different. It should be something else. And I can then see how people will say, okay, so you should not be attached to the world. Just let go of everything. Don't care what happens. Just let your body fall apart. Don't take care of yourself. You find that kind of misses the point. What we're trying to do is let go of the pressure towards what happens around us. Jack, how's your back? My back is pretty okay today, actually, I have to say. Yeah, feeling pretty good. Nice. We're not going to continue too late today because me and Obama, we got to go to bed. It's getting late. For me, it's 1 hour later than usual. So I would be in bed, hopefully almost preparing to go to sleep now. But if anyone has something more, just feel free to type it and we'll take it. One last thing. Question, thought, discussion, whatever. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I think we're all good for today. Thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed it, as always. It's fun to see how much good stuff comes out when people ask questions and we just talk and see. I hope it was something that helped you see more clearly how you can do this, how this is not something that's this incredibly difficult concept that you need to figure out or this secret you need to understand. It's just very simple. You just experience life through your senses and you focus on enjoying and appreciating what you're experiencing. Nice. I wish you all a very pleasant week and I'll see you back on Thursday. Good night. Thank you.